Hello, everybody. My name is Gible. I am here to report to you about everything season 2, episode 8 of Golden Gates. We're here for the post-Rapture recap, where we will recap all things that happened in episode 8, along with getting to interview the 8th-ish person voted out of the Golden Gates. I, of course, am somebody who is always going to try their hardest in a challenge, not even throw, even though it's in the late game. And I, of course, would never poison the jury against anyone. And I'm joined here by someone who, in a twist of fate, they did make it onto the podcast. Of course, is Jason. How you doing?
Hey, well, good to see you again. I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Of course, and it's good to get back into the swing of things. We definitely have a lot of interviews coming up this week. I think we have 2 on Saturday, if nothing else, and then we have a couple planned with some of the finale people. If you're not watching this in real time, the season is already wrapped up, unfortunately, and so there's no more content except, of course, for our postseason interviews. So be excited as we get those out in the next coming weeks. This is your last chance. If you have not watched episode 8, it is the one with the marbles where they have to go around. And then I think the power protection, it was gated community with a face morph. So if you haven't watched that episode, click away now. Give you a couple more seconds. But I, of course, am joined here by somebody who is never yet again going to forget about Trisha's bun. It is Ty. How you doing?
That's gonna haunt me. It has haunted me. Yes, I'm doing great. Gible, thanks for having me. Thank you for having us and talking and keeping Golden Gates alive even after the second season. And
of course,
good to see you again, Jason. Good to see you again, Archie.
Yeah.
Hi, Ty.
I'll tell you, Ty, I don't know. I think I DM'd you a couple photos. I messaged a bunch of my non-LRG friends about the show. And I think a number of them specifically messaged me and they're like, is Ty the main character? Like, do all LRGs have just one person who they edit around? I'm like, I wouldn't say no to Ty. You definitely had a lot of that energy going throughout the season, even up to your elimination. Where it seemed like even though you weren't the most dramatic person, you had really good reads. You had a really good spot in the game. And it kind of comes into a crash in episode 8. Start at the beginning. Of course, I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts on that.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Into Golden Gates. What did you do to prepare? And what were your sort of first reactions seeing the faces as you came into the house?
Yeah. To prepare, I rewatched season 1. I had already watched it. And I rewatched it once I was cast, and then I don't remember how long it was in between, but I'm pretty sure I did like another cram, like rewatch and just kind of like going through it. So I did watch the first season a lot. So all of the challenges that were repeated, I expected to see a few of them. So some favorites showed up again, which was a lot of fun. So I did that, and then coming in, I was surprised to see a lot of people, a lot of faces I didn't know, because part of what I wanted to do in Golden Gates was become a part of the LRG community in Columbus. I had not played any Columbus games, and there's such a big community of people playing in Columbus. So I met a lot of those people, but I knew who a lot of those people were, or their connections and everything. But I didn't know Danny. I knew Noah. And so that was good to see their faces. But at the same time, a lot of the time when you see people, you're like, what did I do to you in a previous game, or what do we know about each other that I don't want getting out? So it works both ways.
Yeah. We see very early on your connections come to haunt you. And we see John throws you up as a pawn. We do see a lot of you being a great social player, not just in this first episode. Actually, I did want to know, do you have the same exact glasses as Liz from Survivor 46? I wrote this in my notes 8 weeks ago, and I haven't been able to clock it since.
Yes. To be clear, Liz has my glasses. Yes, I've had these. I bought these in like 2020 or something like that. This is like a second or third pair of them that I've purchased. So they weren't always my like everyday glasses, but they had become that. So honestly, when I saw Liz on Survivor wearing them, I was like, damn it. I gotta yeah.
Okay, so John obviously pawns you up, and you did win the safety. We see you in confessional. It seems like you have mixed thoughts that kind of change the narrative throughout it. But at this point, but as you go into the gates for the first time, and I think it's just you and John, where's your headspace at in terms of, are you targeting him specifically, or are you going to just kind of let this mull over?
No, I was happy to let it mull over. I hadn't really connected with a whole lot of people yet. I was, making connections. I had already talked with Beck a good bit. And I don't think she had let me know that she was Lydia's cousin at that point. Lydia and I go way back. That's why I was watching. Lydia and Charlie I played a game with, my very first LRG. And Charlie was out early, but Lydia was like my ride or die in that game. So I watched her play, and she didn't let me know she won season 1. And so Beck and I kind of had that. So we had already, she was like, oh, I don't know how many other people she let know that. So I knew I would talk to Beck. I had kind of started talking with Trish, but that was more bonding over like that John was like very cagey with both of us, which I didn't know at the time was just me, because I didn't know they were like, neighbors. So I'm standing there having this conversation with John and Trish with like that, and they're in a whole different world than me, honestly. But so of course I'm gonna go up, especially if I'm like whatever you need to do, or whatever stupid thing I said to him. But hey, if he hadn't done that, I hadn't gotten to play the badass laser game that I got to play. So thanks for that.
Yeah. No shade. I don't know what it would have taken for you not to win that competition.
Noah was pretty close.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know how close third place was. JC might have to clue me in.
I think they were within like 20 seconds and Beck timed out. So, but I was going to say really quick, I think there's something kind of cool about being the first person to win Power of Redemption, because it gives you a storyline right off the bat. Not only do you get put in the pits, which gives you content, you win a competition, which gives you content, but also you get that awkward scene of you being the first time someone in the gates that was put in the pits has to go into the gates and face to face with the Omni, and there's no one else down there. So only episode 1 will have that first meeting, which I think is fun.
Yeah. Happy to be in that situation. And yeah, John and I talked a good bit, and then Ben and Julia Moore, I believe it was, when they came down. But yeah, I know, John and I had the conversation that was honestly like real, of like, no hard feelings, like we can move on. But my connections just kind of became elsewhere. So our priorities weren't each other, I don't think. But yeah.
Okay, so one of the controversial, I don't know, I wouldn't call it controversial. One of the topics that comes up a lot in podcasts and in the confessionals is just about how everyone and their mothers are throwing these competitions. You do say that you throw the first Omni, but I think from there we definitely see you take advantage of a number of competitions. Was it ever a thought? Did you have to change your strategy because you were targeted early on? But really, what was your whole philosophy behind throwing challenges, or lack thereof?
No, I generally didn't feel like anyone was coming after me because I was, maybe it makes it that much easier to throw me in again, but I'm hoping that my connections with people help that not happen. So my deciding to throw it for me every time just comes down to who else is like competing for it, and what the situation is that's going on. So it's round for round for me on what's when to throw a challenge or not. So there was a few that I was trying to throw. I wasn't trying to win one of the 2 Omnis that I won, to be fair. That was just me like not being blatant enough of a dumb guess and just being like, that whatever, I'll just throw that number out there. So I wasn't really trying to win. I was trying to win when I won my first Omni, but that was more competing to because I didn't know where Ben and a couple other people were, and I didn't want them to throw me in because I had already been in.
Yeah. We see you. I told this to Chris. I got to tell it to you. The whole, you obviously you watched the first season, you took notes, you knew about the competitions, but you're at least the only people, you and Chris, who know the RSTLE strategy of Wheel of Fortune and throwing the balls. You get very close to winning this Power of Protection, which would have meant 2 rounds in a row where you're in the gates. And also same for Julia. But we see you save Trish over German and Mike here. Could you talk a little bit about why, or like what your relationship is like with Trish in the game and outside of the game?
Yeah, I had never met Trish till I got there, and I saw that she was someone that was going to be, as she's reminded us plenty of times, very honest. And, very often in a game that could be, a play, or like that's someone that's not honest that's saying that. But my general read, and which turned out to be, for the most part, I'm pretty sure completely true to me, at least, she was completely honest with me. So that's someone that I feel is a good ally to have, especially early in a game. So that was why I was like, okay, well, Trish is someone great to work with. And then we all just kind of came together with me, Trish, Danny, and Ben kind of became a thing at one point a little bit later down the road. So yeah, I wanted to keep working with Trish even when my other connections started not wanting to work with Trish. I did try to prioritize Trish for the most part in a lot of those cases. So early on, I wanted to do that, but at that point, I was either saving. It was I think we knew the votes were not going Mike's way. Unfortunately, I think I might have said something about him not connecting with people or something like that, which probably wasn't the case. Is not the way I meant it to come off, but it was like I did not feel like the support was there in that case. So I was like, okay, who are we saving in this case? Either Trish or German. And at that point, I hadn't really talked with German. And most of my game with German at that point, I think I said at one point, I don't know whether I'm going to target German or not. And that might have been this vote. And I don't even remember thinking that too much, but I guess I was. That's a lot of thing about watching these games back, which I appreciate. Or some of the surprises that you're like, I don't remember saying that at all. That was one of them. So thank you.
It doesn't help when half the die rooms were recorded at like 3 a.m.
I don't remember what time it was here, but this one was early, I think. But yeah, maybe it was too early. I don't know.
For sure. So episode 3, you win your first of, I think, a couple. Is it 2 or 3 omnis? Let me check. You win your first of 2 omnis. It seems like Logan and John are kind of automatic noms. It doesn't seem like there's that much that goes into. What I was sort of surprised about that I've learned through these interviews is how do you know how Rachel became such a house target? Because she did win the Power of Redemption in the episode before, and it seems like everyone just says they weren't connected with her. Do you know anything in particular on maybe why she was in that position so early on?
No, there's nothing I can say about like the way that she was playing the game, or like that I hadn't connected with her. I had connected with her some, but I was down, and then I think she was up in the first one, and so we weren't together then. That's the like overnight. Was that the overnight? When was the overnight? After the third round.
The drag came.
It was during the third round because you woke up and did your sky clip.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, at that point I knew that throwing her in was kind of crazy because she had already it had just happened, and for not a real reason. So I was kind of thinking like, am I crazy to, I think I said it to someone, I don't know if I said it in a confessional, but am I crazy to throw Rachel in again? Because my intention was probably going to be Ben, and then we just had a conversation, and he gave me his Ben Wood charm, and I was like, oh cool, we're working together now. It was just that easy. I know, and I did too, and I knew I was, and I still did it. But so I didn't throw Ben in, and so I was like, who I had, in the confessional, I say like, I don't know, my only option is Rachel, and by that I guess I mean like, I was working with Noah, I was working with Danny, Julia and German, I knew that we were already going to be working together. John I had thrown in, Logan I had thrown in, Trish I knew I was working, so I'd like already made connections with pretty much everyone else, Beck. So I couldn't, there was like, I'm not gonna throw other people in that I've already had more conversations with. So definitely nothing against Rachel or anything like that. Absolutely wonderful person, and I'm glad that she had a good time when it all came down to it. But nothing like that. So that was a really difficult decision early in the game. Logan, I knew like he was gonna probably get dragged either way, like, so that was honest, like, and it was like, this makes it an easier decision, even though he was very good to me and didn't just drag me or didn't put me in the pits the previous time. I did feel bad for it for that reason too. So a lot goes into it, especially early on winning. So that, I think it was a good thing in the end, because I got to have a lot of one-on-one conversations with people that I hadn't had yet.
Yeah. well, speaking of your one-on-one relationships, it seems like going into episode 4, day 3-ish, we get this confessional from Julia. She talks about how she didn't really have that many allies early on. Definitely changes down the line, but she specifically said like you might be her closest ally. Did you have a read on Julia, like how much she valued you? Because it sounds like you were aligned with the whole house, and she only had you at this point in the game.
Who did you say? Julia?
Julia.
Yeah, I was working closely, like we were working closely. I'm surprised to hear that, if that was what she said, because I knew that she was working closely with German. I was aware of, I didn't know any Ascendance people coming in, but I knew who the Ascendance people were and that they probably knew each other. So I was aware of like those connections. So that's why like my working with her and more so German was more by proxy, because I was working closely with Danny when I was down. Danny was also working with them, and so we all had that connection that way. So yeah, Julie and I were pretty close, but I knew she was also super well connected with a lot of other people in a similar way, in a probably less obvious way than I was. So it was very it was yeah, anyway, I lost my train of thought, but that round was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's talk about it a little bit. It seems in the episode, which seems accurate, that the whole flip against or I guess for Hot Girl Chris or against Rachel happened very quickly.
Right.
And you, along with Trish, seem to be the more vocal people going against Beck, who I think presumably before this round you were pretty close allies. What was it like in that moment, kind of being swept up and trying and being put in this plan to save Koa and Chris, and having to leave Rachel, who kind of was against you at this point, to be eliminated?
Yeah, at that point, I had thought that Chris was probably more against me. Well, I didn't, because we had not connected, as much as I had with other people. So at that point, I was like, I'm happy to let this go. And I knew at one point, I ended up throwing Hot Girl Chris into the pits. So that round was more just like, I know that I'm here I know I'm saving Noah because like we have the connection. I was in the same boat as Trish. So like, honestly, I was like, well, whatever happens, I already put Rachel in, so she's not going to prioritize me. I don't think immediately, even though I didn't know how closely her and Danny were working together. If I had known that, I probably wouldn't have thrown her in, or I probably would have put my foot down more to try and get that to not happen. But honestly, like a masterful move by Beck and Maddie, more so Maddie, because he was so much less obvious about throwing the plan together, which I didn't know until later. So like Maddie was playing super hard at that point, but Beck was just someone that was more loud about it and was the one that was doing it. But like, I feel like if Danny was up there, Danny would not have let it happen. Like, so there was a lot of things, and that's Golden Gates. That's the game, as we all come to find out. Yeah, that was the circumstance that happened, and I was like, I'm voting Noah, and whatever else happens, I'm not gonna risk that relationship to flip this or whatever, unflip it or whatever the hell's going on.
Yeah,
it was crazy. That was the wild round. Yeah, wild.
I guess I kind of skipped over it. Did you ever get the chance to listen to John's exit interview? Yeah. I listened to John's exit interview. I did, we'll clip this one. So we'll clip it for you and we'll put it on the Golden Gates Instagram. Do you have any response to the comments he made?
Yeah, I've got a response to the comments that John made. Let me see. No, John was just you ready? Okay, yeah, John was just jealous. I think he wanted a showmance, and it wasn't happening. No. In all honesty, like, I wear the bright colors. I wear the rainbow glasses. I have like a rainbow tattoo on me and stuff. So like, I get it. and I'm wearing flower shirts, but that's like honestly like what I am, how I have dressed for my life. Like in high school, I painted like rainbows on my backpacks and on my backpack and stuff. So it's just been like a form of like allyship for me, I guess, since I was young. And it's, and in games, it's just like something. I wear bright colors, and people in the first game I wore like a bright jacket, or that was not unintentional, and people kept commenting like, I like your hoodie. I was like, oh, cool. But like it little things in games can like, make people like more interested in working with you. Call it gay baiting if you want, if that's what what John was saying. But to be clear, I did not bring poppers into the house. I've never seen poppers in real life, so maybe I'm not the ally I claim to be anyway.
As a gay guy who wears only black mostly, I think a straight guy who wears bright colors, nothing wrong with that. Use it to your advantage.
Right. So it's, it is like, intentional in a game of like, I'm going to wear like bright colors, and like if that brings people in, cool. But it is, what I wear. I wear these to work every day, and and have the tattoos every day too, so. Yeah. But all in good fun. Had a great time playing, but obviously like thinking, shit, when John comes back into the game. In all due respect, still.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you kind of get your moment back at him when you try and nominate him, which it's fun. It circles around because you win that comp challenge too.
Oh, that's funny.
It seems like you knew Chris was after you. Did you know Logan would also still renominate you?
No, honestly, I was actually surprised that Chris did. When I did, because because he acted surprised when I threw him in, because we had not, there was no non-working relationship. My game had just progressed more with other people, like I had said. So at that point, I was not surprised to see necessarily that I got some ones that were thrown in, but I was happy to see it was only, I think, just those two, if I'm not mistaken. So I was like, oh, that's that's pretty cool. But yeah, not super surprised, but a little bit surprised about both, because I was like, oh damn. But makes sense because I threw both of them in. But Beck, I was pretty sure would not have thrown me in, and I knew it when I had to put her in. That's why I was like, I have to find a third person. So yeah. That's why I wanted it to be John, because I had already done it, and I was like, we could have tried and say, save this relationship, or continue working. To be fair, John had no ill will against me in the game. I was just like, I thought that maybe he would come after me at one point, but I think enough people were not working with John at that point that I probably should have taken advantage of that relationship more, honestly.
Yeah, John has such an interesting story arc throughout this series, because he starts with all the enemies, and then in the middle of the season it seems like everyone wants to work with him, and then towards the end again he goes back to everyone wants to get him out. So I think if you at the right moments, if you use John and the strategic sense, he definitely was a piece that could be a valuable ally, especially with his competition wins.
Yeah, but that's also a dangerous ally too. If there's someone that's going to win a bunch and can kind of, like John could have won a more challenges than he did, I think, or more handily than he did multiple times, I think. Yeah. But yeah, he's very strong competitor all around. So yeah, a really strong ally to have, and someone that you could kind of like hide behind if you wanted to get the someone else to win the challenges and not you.
Yeah. Could you tell me what your reaction was like when you got the eggplant punishment?
If I wasn't already my fruitiest self in this game, I hear thank you for whoever's idea that was. Yeah, it was but no, it was hilarious. It was a lot of fun. I wish it stayed inflated for longer. But
yeah. We don't have any way to tell people this in the episode, but it did have a motorized fan inside it that blew it up at all times, and it had been working for years. And we got him in the suit. It blew up. We took the picture, which is on Instagram. You can see it blowing up. And as soon as we were about to send them out, the fan broke, and then he had to walk out fully deflated and spend the rest of the season like that, which kind of ended up making it funny in its own way. But I wish that had happened at least a little bit later.
Yeah, or you had been able to see it go, you know?
Yeah, right. You sit down and it breaks. That would have been so good.
Yeah. I popped my eggplant. It was broken like within immediately after the picture. There's one picture. There is proof. There is proof.
I don't know if I would call it a fruity costume, maybe more vegetable-like, but that's...
Yeah, I was expecting a banana, to be fair. When I saw Fruitius, and then it was an eggplant, yeah.
I think we looked it up, and an eggplant's like technically a fruit, or maybe I don't remember.
I'll trust you on it. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
It calls it a berry. Yeah, so I'm shocked. I learned, you learn something new. Sometimes you learn what you don't expect on the Golden Gates recap.
Yes, it is botanically a fruit. I just looked it up, so technically, there you go.
Yeah. AI overview. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Either way, yeah. Great job on the punishments or the humiliation gifts, and everything. The Dark Council twist was just incredible. So sad I didn't get to be a part of it.
I think you're the only person to get 2 gifts from the Dark Council.
That's true. Humiliation and sloppy seconds of Ben's. Ben's extra vote.
Still, a feather to put in your hat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, might have to double check. Well, not only were you an eggplant, but you were also a mermaid in the next episode.
Yes.
Could you talk about what was your thought process for this challenge for the Art Gallery Omni? And this is after Chris goes home, which you seem very happy about. Did you want to win this Omni? And if so, what was your strategy for this challenge? Because it seemed there was a lot going on.
Yeah, is this episode 7?
We're at 7, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. That round, that challenge was silly and difficult to get the wording of it and the spelling of everything was what was hard, because finding the right one was really not that difficult once you found it and there were people all crowded around it. But yes, I loved that I got to be a mermaid and had to run around in the eggplant costume, shuffling around and all night. But yeah, that round, I think I was trying to win that one if I could, or I was, at that point, actually, I probably wasn't super trying to win, because I had won 2 Omnis at that point, right?
By this episode, yes.
Yeah, because I won episode 5 was the...
It was
I mixed up the
3
episode.
and then the fast forward round in 5.
5, yeah, right. So at that point, trying to read it still and see who was going to win. But I think Ben won did he get all of them right in that one?
Yeah, Ben got a score.
Yep. Whatever. It wouldn't have mattered either way, would it?
Maybe not. Okay, so Trish seems to leak to you a lot of information about Danny in this. Do you think that, what was your reaction to learning, about the number of lies and alliances that Danny had going on at this stage in the game?
At that point, I wasn't super concerned about it, because I was pretty sure that Danny was going to prioritize me as an ally. So I was
that's what everyone thought, right?
It was that, to be fair, but you can ask Danny when they do theirs, but I'm pretty sure that was an accurate read. We had both played the same game, different seasons, but there's been reunions from Survive that we've both done, that we've been to, so we knew who each other were, and so in that moment, when we saw each other, it was all right. So at that point, of course other people thought that too, so I wasn't surprised. That I was yeah, of course Danny's playing with everyone. Danny plays these games all the time, and they're they've got all these other relationships, so I wasn't surprised to find that out, or I feel like Danny was pretty straight up with me in most cases. Maybe at one point I would have not wanted to sit at the end with them, but it turned, who knows how that'll turn out. I don't know how spoilery we can be for the actual end.
Hold on, I gotta deal with something.
All good.
We get some weird people in the chat every now and again. Anyways.
Oh yeah.
I've seen that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, can I
Multiple
see the
people
chat?
love the
Am I able
Golden
to see
Gates.
it?
I wonder if it's because we have the word Rapture in our title. Like, does that trigger something?
I think so, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been like Golden Gates. Anyway, he's getting back on track. Okay, so in
It's a game. It's a
episode
game.
8, and feel free to like rewind if I passed by something that you wanted to bring up.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You open up. You didn't think? Did people really not think that Beck was a newbie to the game?
No, I think people probably did, but I was just, I think she was playing super well for it. I mean, I did believe, people were kind of like, is she actually for real that she's never done this? Because of the Rachel move, and I could tell at some point it was, it was a lot of fun. Playing with Beck, but she was also very chaotic. So I feel like people, like in the moves she was making, so that was probably like a testament to not having played before, and honestly how Beck is too. She is not a subtle person. So there's but still like super strong player like all around, and it was so much fun meeting her and working with her, along with like honestly everyone that I got to meet that weekend was just it was just incredible. But yeah, I have no idea, like Beck going out like kept saying Steady Eddie, and that alliance kept coming up. I didn't know who was in Steady Eddie. I could not, and I don't think a lot of people did. So I know her and Maddie were in it, and I think Danny was in it.
In her mind, it was her, and then an amalgamation of different people depending on the round.
Yeah, but she kept saying Steady Eddie, Steady Eddie. I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm in Steady Eddie, but like I don't know who else is, so I don't know who else I can't talk about it with anybody else unless Becca's also there.
Yeah. So we have the Twist of Fate competition. So I'll ask this to Jason. Jason, you had the whole pick of all the competitions in season 1. What made Twist of Fate one that you were inclined to bring back?
Yeah, no, good question. So Twist of Fate is actually a game that we started in our previous LRG, Big Brother Columbus, and that had been a staple just because we thought it was really interesting. It's also one of the first competitions we ever designed. It's based on the Mario Party minigame Honeycomb Havoc, where you don't want to get the bees and you can take 1 or 2 fruit. It's just that game fully ripped off. And when we did season 1 of Golden Gates, we were like, okay, how many competitions do we already have ready that we can just move over? It's like, all right, well, we made the board, we have the marbles. And so we did it for 1, continued it in 2. I can say with pretty good certainty after this season, it will be retired as Ben basically tells the audience how to win. And I think that now as we're going more grandiose with everything, it's not the most exciting competition to watch. And I get that. Especially, hearing Black Marble over and over again, my attempts to make it funny. But I do think that if this is the last time you ever see it, it at least went out with a bang with how it ended between Danny and Ben. So if this is the last time you ever see Twist of Fate, thank you to everybody for making it a very memorable one.
Yeah. Well, it definitely took Ty out with the bang because he had a lot of decisions that I think led to his lack of votes to save this episode. So you end up eliminating, I think, Maddie and Koa in this competition, only for Ben to take you out in like the next round. What was your logic on doing them versus Danny versus like you kind of spell out the order that they are in your allyship? And did you realize how bad it might have looked to an outsider what was going on?
Yeah, a lot of mistakes watching that. First of all, sad to hear that it is a good challenge. I totally understand where you're coming from with it. I do hope that Black Marble makes an appearance in some way.
We'll find a way.
Is all I'll say. But yeah, what a way to go out. But yes, that was definitely like a lot of errors that I made playing that. I probably should have read a little bit more. I knew Danny and I were like each other's number ones, was at least in my eyes. So I was not, and I could tell by the look in their face that they wanted to win the Omni. So I was like, I'm not going to take Danny out, but that was a mistake because that means Maddie, who gets power, is no longer going to prioritize me. And I thought our connection, I think Maddie says, our conversations were a little more straightforward at first, and then they became a little bit more cagey. So like I knew we weren't going to be super tight, so I was like, okay, whatever. But then yeah, to do it to Noah too, bad move, bad move on both parts. Honestly, I could have explained it away with Danny, and we still would have been fine, probably.
It was a tough situation for you because Danny's coming off of Ben having just put them in the pits the round prior. Ben's still in the game. So, of course, Danny's not going to want to bow out until Ben's gone. But then you're the one that has to make the decisions on who to cut to keep Danny in. So you definitely were unlucky with the number of times you had to take people out.
Yeah, and that may, maybe it's that game is luck, and also there, like as Ben explained, and other people playing that game know there is a skill, aspect to it, but it is like I don't know what it is. Like I'm not, it's not my type of thing. So like, yeah, I probably could have gotten myself out of one or two of those in some way, but yeah, like that was just the first, well, no, probably not the first slip up that happened from my game, but yeah, definitely not my challenge. A lot of fun to watch after I got eliminated though, because that stare down was legit.
Yeah, I will say also, I don't necessarily think you knocking Maddie out of that competition was the sole reason they chose to target you, but it made for a very easy way to edit that it was a contributing factor. Because in that scene where not to get too far ahead, they do decide to turn on you. I was like, oh, I can just jump right back to these, and that kind of helps sell the story.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk. Yep. So Maddie wins the power to drag, and Ben, I think, I don't know. I mean, are you close with Ben at this point, or what is your relationship? Because I don't know if we see that spelled out.
Yeah, I feel like I was working with Ben pretty well. I was surprised to hear Ben say after I go that he was planning on targeting me next. I was surprised to hear that, honestly, but that's probably just because he knew my connection to Danny was closer than mine with his. And so, yeah, I probably, that's exactly right, Ben. That's funny. Yeah, as they were staring each other down, I was like, I'm working with both of these people. Like, and I probably should have, for my own game, unhitched my wagon from Danny's a little bit, even if it was just in that challenge or just probably overall. And then Ben and I's relationship could have probably been stronger, but I thought we were pretty good at that point, honestly. So I thought maybe Ben would throw me in, but I thought that that when Ben was the Omni the round before, I thought maybe he was going to throw me in, and then we walked in and we had the same conversation as when I was Omni and he didn't throw me in. So I thought we were pretty cool. But yeah, it started. I probably should have like picked a side in that battle a little bit sooner, one way or the other.
Yeah. Well, it looks like two of your closest allies in that, Danny and Trish, both were in the gates this round, so they weren't able to save you. This is another overnight phase, which seems to be the status quo for tie rounds. But what did you realize going in, even before the advantage, that you would be the target of the drag?
Going in, let's see. I found the night before, as we go to bed, I did not. And that was another mistake. Is like that was happening already. That the target was going to be on me, and I didn't realize it because I should have not trusted Julia and German as much as I did, obviously. But I didn't know that it was turning that quickly, and I thought Noah would still work with me, even though I had just eliminated him from the game, and I had in a previous Traitors game that I had played with Noah, I had murdered him as a traitor, and then when he got back in the game, banished him. So it's fair that he would want to eventually come for me, but I should have probably seen that coming a little bit. But yeah, no, I was just chilling that night, and that was a mistake. I probably should. It was really late. But people were going to be up anyway, and if I had wanted to have the game conversations with Maddie and Julia at the very least, I probably could have done something to turn it around. But I was just chilling and we were hanging out. Like it wasn't like I didn't have a lot of the game conversations I probably should have had that night that could have done a little bit more for me.
I think we finished Face Morph around 2 a.m. or a little bit after, so it was very late. Did you click at all, like when Trish won Face Morph and realized that like Trish and Danny are both in the gates? Was that any sort of like
Yep.
or?
Yeah, it was. That was the first like damn, at least. But I thought I still had Julia and German, so I was nervous. I was nervous going to bed, but I was like, people don't want a game. It's really late. But and that's just kind of what I was telling myself, like rookie move. Like I should have continued on. Like I should have if I had wanted to have those conversations with probably anyone that was still awake, because team bed was a lie, that I probably could have had those conversations, and I just didn't have them. So yeah, I knew that was like bad. I don't know that Ben would have voted to save me, but I at least would have had Danny and Trish up there. If they were not down there, I think they would have voted for me, and maybe some other people might have with those people up there too. I don't know, but yeah, they took the shot when they had it, at the very least, to take Danny and other people that had a lot of power down a little bit more too. So totally makes sense. But yeah, it was. I was not surprised that I was dragged, obviously, but that was a really big scramble for me trying to run around to save myself there. Because I saw the conversation happening. I wish I had tapped a producer on the shoulder and been like, come, I'm about to come listen through the door. Or maybe I would have maybe I should have just gone in there,
Yeah, I looked for footage of you listening at the door and couldn't find it, but I think
did it.
That one-on-one where you talk to the camera though, and then go to listen and then talk about it, I think tells the story of the best ability.
Yeah, and here's the thing, I don't even remember who was filming that. That's how in the zone I was with just with trying to save myself. I was watching it. It was funny. I was watching it with my partner Caroline, and I'm like, all right, they're in there. And I turn and she goes, I'm going in. It's like, all right, here we go. I'm going in to save myself. And yeah, it did not did not happen. Which essentially just came to me being like, Julia, please don't. That's basically that's what my big strategy was at that point. So that was pretty silly. I don't know. There's plenty of stuff you look back and what you could have done, should have done. But yeah, I didn't realize how much German was going to target me. So I should have targeted German. Turns out, really sleepy Ty should have probably listened to that guy.
Yeah. Did you have an ideal 3 or I guess 2 people that you wanted to go to the end with at this point?
No, not necessarily. Because so much can happen round to round. There was no one at that point that I was confident that they wouldn't be able to get some votes or be able to at least make moves to get the votes toward the end. But no, I was prioritizing my relationship with Danny, Julia, and then by proxy more, because we really didn't talk very much, and especially a lot of too much game with German. But we were in that alliance, so that's one really interesting part about this game, right? Is you're working with people, and part of my strategy coming in was to be as indispensable as possible to as many people as possible, so that they don't want to lose me in their game. But eventually, that gets you caught out, right? Because then you're in with too many people. So it's that situation, you're counting on the people that you're prioritizing a little bit lower, and that just makes it really tough. You have to have really solidified those things, and I obviously didn't solidify them enough here.
Yeah. I think that's about all I got. I did think, Jason, if you're looking for a way to use the black marble, add it to the Achilles wheel for the random draw. It's just whoever picks the black marble.
Oof, a quick game of Twist of Fate. That's actually not a bad idea.
I do not do 1v1 Twist of Fate. It's Ben solved it. But I was thinking for the if you're doing rocks instead of rocks, do
gotcha.
No, I could
add it to the wheel. I like that.
100 times, and as long as I go second, I'll beat him every single time.
The wheel will definitely change up a bit every year. We don't want people to know all the options, but first boot will be on it every week or every year until it happens.
That was so much fun. Or can we talk about that? That's that later.
Yeah, I guess
That's
it's up to Gible if we're going to talk
Okay,
about.
so here's what I'll do. Here's what I'll do. So if you're watching this episode and you have not watched episode 9 yet, episode 9 is it's a double episode. Go watch it right now. This is your sign, click away. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for listening, wherever you are. We're gonna start talking about episode 9. So in episode 9, we see the tie happen, and it goes to the jury vote. It seems like you have a lot to tell me about. Tell me about what the reaction was like. It seems like you vote for Trish, which is the minority here. What was the reaction like? What was the whole chaos of it all? Because it seemed like it was very unexpected.
Yeah, well, we get to do something, so like I get to be involved again. Like, oh, it's my time. I get to be on camera again. I thought I was done with this. So, we all took advantage of it, I guess. Yeah. So, I was pretty sure Ben was going to be the one, but I was like, I didn't know what we have no idea what's going on until people come down. So that was like, surprisingly like, who is it? Oh, who is it? It's Archie. What's going on? So a lot of fun, and we were all confident, or at least I say we all, I mean like the 4 people that I talked to about it were confident that it would have been the same thing as as last season. I was just like, oh, it'll be the Omni and Danny would save me if we went to a tie. That's like what I was scrambling for when I got eliminated. But I would have been the recipient of the wheel if we had done it, or how many other ties could there have possibly been at that point? Like I'm sure they were nervous that wasn't going to happen, and then boom.
Oh, I was sweating bullets because I was so excited for that twist. We had filmed the video for it. We bought the wheel, but the more I've kind of thought about it, and I don't want to metagame here too much, but I feel like that round in particular has just a high likelihood of tying. That we had one tie last year and it was the same round, but when there's only 5 votes and the bottom 2 go, other than like a 3-1-1, which I feel like is less likely to happen, that round is a pretty high potential of the 2-2-1 happening, or of the whatever 2-2-1. Yeah, there's a higher potential of that happening with 5 people and 2 people going home. So I hope it continues to happen. But I would love a tie earlier in the game, like the wheel. When there's still episode 3 or 4, that would be great.
I have a bunch of questions about the wheel. I do want to save them, but it's always funny to think what happens if you get a tie episode 1, and then we got to do like first boot or jury votes. Like, oh my god. We'll save that. We'll save that for the next podcast.
Next time,
yeah. Other than that, Ty, do you have any last moments, any stories? What has it been like reflecting on this experience and getting to watch it back? Is there anything you want to tell us about your journey on Gold Gates that we didn't get to discuss already?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I had so much fun. I played, a pretty strong social game, and I enjoyed that aspect of it. It went, gone too soon, of course, but it was such an interesting game. So much fun. It's the first. I had played several other LRGs already, but it was the first original format game that I had played. So I had obviously watched the first season a lot. I was hoping to play more of a Lydia season than a Charlie season. Charlie texted me after it was over, and he was like, I know you can't give me any spoilers, but how was it or whatever? And I was like, let's just say I played more of a Charlie game than a Lydia game, which is totally true. Accidentally winning omnis and things of that nature, getting extra votes, things of that nature. So like. I had so much fun, and it's such a well done game, and such a hard game. Honestly, it's very fun and silly and campy, as we've all talked about, but it's very difficult, and definitely the most difficult strategy game that I've played as an LRG. So kudos to everyone involved. And then kudos, I just want to especially shout out Jason, honestly. Kyle and the rest of the crew, Jen and Trevor, Javen, Lydia, everybody that I can't name, too many people that were there, were all fantastic. Like, obviously, like, kudos all around, but Jason was an absolute rock star, like staying up so late filming people, and you could have had every reason to be a total bitch to everybody, but you were just the nicest person the whole time. So like Archie does a lot, and Kyle, obviously, it's Kyle's baby, but the amount of effort and everything that goes into it, production all around, but especially from Jason is really, really awesome, and how special it is, and the community you've built around it is great. And I can't wait to watch more of it, because I'll be around, and so yeah, it's gonna be a blast.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say really quick, thank you so much. I appreciate it. All those times we made you guys wait, so we set up 6 cameras. This is why, so it could look good. And then Ty, one thing I did want to say to you is we've been talking a lot about the game since it's been over, and another feather to put in your cap is that we realized that at least up until this point in the game, you have the highest successful Omni rate of the season, because in Golden Gates, the drag goes home a lot. And you are the only person to have 2 Omnis where both times either your target or secondary target, someone you put in the pits, does go home. So you are, I think, the only person on the cast that can say that.
Wow, interesting. I didn't realize that. But yeah, that's the drag is such a powerful position. So it's like it's a very interesting dynamic built into the game. Obviously, people, I never watched Big Brother, so obviously there's like other aspects of the game that bring a lot of that out. But the other twists and the vote to save rather than and everything else with 3 people is such a cool concept. And how much fun it was, and everybody that I met too, the whole cast, like it's been so much fun watching the episodes back with everyone and reliving everything and the silliness and the stuff you didn't know happened. Yeah, can't recommend it enough. It was so much fun.
Yeah. I might argue that Nate also had that happen in season 1, but I think it's more impressive when you do it with 13 people than when you do it at Final 5.
Oh yeah, I was just referring to season 2. I don't know the season stats super well anymore, but as far as where we're up to, episode 8 in well, obviously 9, we see how that shakes out. I think Ty's the only one that has 2 people that, because there's a lot of people that get dragged that go home in season 2.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you both so much. Ty, do you have any upcoming projects or social media you want to shout out while you're here?
Oh yeah, totally. So Instagram, I guess, is the place that I am, unfortunately, in the world we live in. Ty for watching is my Instagram handle. You'll just see me on Golden Gates posts and everything. But that, and then I competed in Surviving Bloomington, as we might have mentioned. The upcoming season 8. Once season 7 ends, then season 8's coming out, and I did get to play with Rachel and Lydia from season 1 of Golden Gate. So some Golden Gates ties coming up for that we'll see how it all shakes out, since there's no spoilers here.
Yeah. And I didn't get the chance to watch it through. I think you're on Molo Hire 2025, right?
Nope, not me. Maybe a different Ty.
Did I make that up? Were you on 24? Were you on that?
No, I haven't done. I had never watched any Mole before until just a few weeks ago. I watched the Netflix one for the first time. So no, not me. But maybe someday I would love to. I would. It's been highly recommended by multiple people, but no, I was not there. I wasn't the mole. These are lies, and I'm being slandered.
Like I'm gonna have to look. The mole would say.
Jason, do you have any? I mean, now that the season is kind of over, what do you got to tell us about?
Again, thank you to everybody who's watching. Thank you, Ty, for being such a great character on the show. I definitely intentionally try to give you a bit of that main character energy edit, because I think that your boot's one of the surprising that people wouldn't see going into the season. I'll let you know my mom was crushed, but other than that. I am working on like a bonus episode, I guess. Funny moments that couldn't make the show. Some wrap up DRs with the second and third place finishers. So there will be a episode 11 kind of bonus episode that will come out. No timeline, the next couple weeks, but that'll be a little end cap to the season.
Yeah, can't wait. Thank you all for having me too.
Yeah. That's all I got. Thank you so much. I mean, check out my Instagram, Duck7Man. Don't really have any upcoming projects that are huge. So until then, I mean, stay tuned, subscribe to the Live Reality Games channel. Check out our other podcasts. I think we have 2 coming up on Saturday with finalist. How do I remember this? I think we have 5th place and then 7th or 8th place. I don't know. You'll figure it out. Check the descriptions. And other than that, thank you again so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. I have been Gible. Thank you again, Jason and Ty, for joining me. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.